So, hey, good afternoon. It's Wednesday. It's 3 p.m. and I'm just a little late, but so what? We're good. I'm John. I'm Dr. John, and Dr. John Celestri. And who's this? Who's this Dr. John? And where did you get your doctorate? Well, I got my doctorate of animation through my 45 plus years of professional and old school animation and comic book experience. So I think, I guess all that experience has given me the ability to, oh, call myself a doctor, I guess. So, anyway, for the next 30 minutes, the doctor is in. And we'll talk on the other side of this opening. Hello, it's me, John, Dr. John. So glad that you were able to come on board and show. Let's see what. Wait a minute. First, I want to see what's going on here. If I'm on and I'm checking out. Let's see. Communication. Okay, I'm good, I guess. So um, today, oh, it's that's right. It's today is the Star Wars Holiday Special Day. This is like in 1978, the only broadcast of, at least the live stream broadcast of the Star Wars Holiday Special occurred. It was never repeated on broadcast network. It's been repeated a lot on the on on YouTube, and many times it was pirated and handed from fan to fan, and so it's a special day, and I wish you all a happy Life Day, and we're going to carry on with life drawing. No, not really, but the today what I'm thinking about doing. Oh, first, before I got to remember all this here. There is we are, or I am, part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. A rising tide raises all ships. And the thing about this is, I think is a great thing where all of these various independent creators, people with their podcasts and with their video, with their YouTube shows, come on and partake or give you information. It's a matter of whether it be discussion or or education, or even just promotion, where you're getting to learn about new artists that you don't see or hear about in the mainstream media, or even in the secondary medias. So anyway, I think it's great, and I'm very proud to be part of the organization. So with that, what we've got is just to mention some of the shows. The we have the Never Mind the Furthermore by the brilliant Brian K. Morris, who heads up this organization. He's on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings. Then on Tuesday and Thursday morning is TED Talks with Ted Davies. He brings on his artistic guests, and they get to talk about their works and processes. There's Tuesday nights is the Dastardly Dingoes podcast, and a bunch of guys that are sort of they're I guess they talk about their reviews on comic books and movies, and they don't just do 5 second or 5 minute clips. They go into some deep discussions, which is great. And then on Saturday nights is from the desk of a small press publisher, and that's Joe D. McPhee. And he brings on a lot of comic book artists and guests, and they go into good discussions that way too. So um, I'm going to start my show, and what we're going to do is let me add to the stream. Yes, we are. I'm trying to get my bearings. Okay, we are going to be talking, and I'm going to be talking about drawing hands. And the thing about drawing hands is that it's very, it's supposed to be. People think, oh, this is tough stuff. It is tough. It is very difficult to do this kind of work. Let's see what I've got here. What I want to do. Oh yeah, I wanted to show that. I forgot. So anyway, the I think drawing hands is one of the most difficult things that you can do. And that's because people think that it's just a very simple, well, sometimes people get overly, what's the word? It gets complicated. Well, it doesn't have to be complicated. The aspect of it is that you don't have to worry about um, if you know the basics of how a hand is constructed, then we can start talking about expressing emotion and holding objects. So I'll just do this as a very basic thing here. For example, um, some people like to draw, you know, a palm like that. Yeah, it's a square, a rectangle, and then they'll put in the thumb, forefinger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky. So, okay, that's great. Um, and then you've got the people who like to put an oval in there and then do the same thing, or a circle. So that's fine. It's simple. The thing is that we have to think about, and I'm just going to put a different color here. Let me just roll this up a little bit. Okay, like so. There are connections. There are joints. So let's do a thumb has got two joints, and then you've got your joint here and joints there, and then think of it in that way. Okay, and just remember that your fingers are that's how they hold on to things, but that's how they move. Um, I'm going to hold on a second and see if anybody's out here. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's enough. I'm looking just to see if anybody's in there. Just raise your hand and say hi. So, okay. With that in mind, now that I've got you've got your various, as I said, the various joints. You've got, um, and that's the structure of the hand. If you go on and whatever choose you want to. There are many ways that you can do expression. Just think about, happy and sad. Okay. Let's just take this one as the happy hand, and that's going to be the sad hand. Okay. Now, and so how would you express, being happy? Well, you could do just a thing like a thumbs up. That's just saying I am very, very, I enjoy with this. I agree with you. I think this is good. I mean, you could also do, let's see. I'm going to hold my hand to myself and oh, just being a hand out like that. Nah, that's stupid. I'm just going to get rid of that one. That's the thing about Vigil. You could do it all, you start all over again. Um, Now, if you were Jose, you know, you could do. Now, many of you don't remember here. That's a thumb, that's a forefinger, that's an eye, and just the crease of your hand, and you've got a happy hand right there. The I'm just going to switch here and get another layer. Okay. Um, I'm going to switch for a second. Okay. The Bandito Vina. Hi, Bandito 133 Venus. Hi. And where are you from? So, well, uh, I'm glad that you're here. The it's it's pretty windy here, and that may be one of the reasons why I'm a little discombobulated, because the wind is really strong here in Lexington and in central Kentucky, because we're going from 70 degrees right now, and we're going to go all the way down to like 40, in a few hours. So it's kind of like making me feel a little bit strange. Um, but let's go back to drawing. Using your hands to express things, you can have a let's see, you know, pointing. Just drawing a fist is not enough. And comic book artists have a tendency to draw either fists or their hands are relaxed, or akimbo, hands on hips. Well, there's more to doing that. I mean, play around with your hands so that you can say, just think about the various, planes of the hand, the fists. Um, Sometimes all you need to do is to do, if you want to do a fist again, do it so that there's an overlap of some sort. You know, there's perspective maybe, of one finger over another. And I'll put in another one here. Okay, let's see here. You're in Phoenix, Arizona, and you're wow. Oh, wowing. It's hot here. Okay, yeah, yeah. It's unusual for us to have some hot weather like this. So, huh. Well, I'm glad that you showed up. I'm glad you've got something that hopefully you'll enjoy the afternoon, these few minutes here. Um, so let me get here. Um, I think one of the things that you know there's there are points. People like to point. Okay, so let's do some pointing. Okay, this is a very general point. It's nothing very. There's just a little bit of expressiveness here with the pinky up. Uh, then there is this is a very aggressive point. Well, that's a general point. If you're going to go with a real, strong, attitude, then you might do something like that. There's a, sometimes you are, you're doing live long and prosper, kind of hand here. Um, the but there is another element is pressure, using seeing feeling pressure on your finger. For example, just your knuckles are shown here, and there's your finger really pointing straight down and hitting hitting a surface. Let's start another one here. Let's see. And oh, and Bandito 13 Venus says, "Wow, you draw hands so easily. How long have you been doing art for?" Since pretty much the age of 6. So that's 66 years. Sorry. Yeah, I've been doing this professionally since the early 70s. So right there, it's 40 some odd years. And yeah. So, and I wouldn't try to, make it seem like I know what you're doing. There, I've been an animator for a very long time. In animation, you have to draw hands. Uh, for example, let's say you have a beer mug here. Okay, let's do, yeah, just a coffee. Yeah, instead of a beer, a coffee cup. Okay, here's a mug here, and like that. Now, um, if you want to, it depends on your hands. Let's say you want to just, you can wrap it around, a couple of, you have two fingers into that handle, and then you have to have two other fingers. The thumb is on top of it, and then the two other fingers holding the rest of it. So basically, you're drawing this. But again, I'm trying to get a line of action in this drawing. Say, for example, here's in this case here, this pencil and this drawing here, the hand is coming in and wrapping around, and now it's going to go into the position of raising the mug up. And so, let's say here you want to do this here so that it's the hand is up here. So let's say this is the mug here, and so now its finger is holding. It is a cradle. The thumb and the forefinger and middle finger is holding the the handle, and then the rest is just holding it together here and securing it. So think in terms of these elements, in terms of how what the finger is constructed by, how it's composed, and then think about how you wrap things around it. Just think about in terms of the force involved, or the forms around it. So it's more of a, it's not just the idea of doing something right off the bat very quickly. You're trying to get an impression of movement. Wow. Yes. Thank you. The let's do another thing here. Let's go with another one here. Yeah, animation. The poses have always been the bedrock of expression. For example, the pounding of a fist is kind of like, okay, here you have. Oh, let me do a. Okay, so let's say you have a hand and you've got a palm, okay, and then you're going to, and so here's your shoulder connecting to your, the forearm and your shoulder here. And then now you're going to go and now he's starting to pull this, and then he smashes into the fist, and into the fist is going to slam into the other hand, and then just for a brief moment, and then you could settle it a bit, and the fingers, this hand, the left hand, then wraps around the right fist, and you have a pose. Let's just roll this back a little bit. And so you have a, 1, 2, 3 points of of an action. Again, we're talking about understanding what the dynamics of a movement is, and if you can use very simple lines, if you understand that what you're doing is trying to get emotion and essence into your pose, it doesn't matter what design is, it's still going to be those elements. Is like, once again, here you've got, this is a force that's going in this direction. This is something that's just stationary. You've got a you have a crumpling here because it's not quite, this is holding on. There's a force against that, and then there's a wrap around here, and there's a little recoil of the hand, of the right fist. There's a lot that you can do with these drawing with just simple lines, you know. Oh, okay. Let's see. We have, okay. Venus says, I've been doing art for about 5 to 6 years now, and I'm just now understanding how to draw hands. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to do them in perspective. It's super hard, but very fun to practice. Yes, it is. You know, yes, it is. But don't get caught up with just structure. You say, oh, and what's the best advice you can give for someone? Okay, someone who wants to get into animation or comic book making. I um, Learning, the best advice I could say is learning to tell a story structurally. Learn entertainment. Learn what is entertaining. Learn how to tell a story that is beginning, middle, and end. And because what happens is that even with a comic book artist, you have to tell a story on a page. And if you don't understand the structure of the story, all you're going to wind up doing is at the best doing very pretty pictures, maybe dynamic pictures, but you have to have more than just that, a beginning, middle, and end. So learn storytelling, learn acting, because you have to act with a pencil. If you're an artist, if you're going to tell a comic book a comic book story or any kind of story, you have to know how to bring up and pull out from within your emotions and how you feel about a situation, and play the role that of the characters that you are writing about. So those are the things right now I would focus on. And Frater CR, hello, John. Hello, Frater. And it's Frater CR, hello, John again. Same here. Well, I'm glad you all can share that you made it. Who have we got? Oh, there we go. Here's Joe from the desk of a small press publisher. Afternoon, John. Afternoon, Joe. Well, let's see. Because you all have been late, are there questions that you have for me right now? Because this was about as much as I was going to do today, but I don't want to I don't want to stiff you guys, because you did show up, and I know it's tough to do online, and to be at a particular time. It's just I kind of, as I said, I figured that a half hour of information is pretty much all that people can take. But what we'll do is let's do some more of this in the. Let's see, who am I going here? We got. I'm bummed that I missed the lesson. Oh, Joe, listen. Okay, we're gonna do another 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna give you this here, and I learned a lot from your posing tutorials. Yes, I hope so. And I hope not to be repeating myself. It's a very hard thing not to repeat, but sometimes you need to do that. let's for example, the action here, and this is all hands, okay? So let me get this here. Let me do another one here. Put on a, where's the viewer? Okay, let's do this again. So um, we'll roll this up a bit. Okay, so with this one here. So as I showed you before, it was that, a teacup posing and such. Is there anything else in there? Yes, that's Senior Wences. Some people may remember him, or maybe not. But if you look at old Ed Sullivan uh, shows of the 1950s and early 60s, he was a puppeteer, and he used his hand to do it was basically the hand and some lipstick, and that was his whole expression, and he did it all with his, it was just his hand manipulating. So, but he was that was fun. So anyway, I'm gonna do another here. Let's do a little bit of some more posing. um let's see, with hands, the okay, sometimes you want to do a little dainty, or where are we going here? Let's see, with my finger. Why am I? Oh, I know why. You know, sometimes it turns. I got the pencil on. Turn around. Okay, so let's say you want to do something dainty. Okay, fingers, pinkies are always saying dainty, and then there. There's a lot of action going on here. You've got your pinky up. You've got a little, like a really tiny, a little taste here. It's kind of like you're going to taste something, and then you're going to say, "Oh, you're going to do a." There's an attitude here. The lips are moving forward, and it's about to. Mwah, you know. Let's see what I was going to say. It's like he's going. Mwah, mwah. That's another little bit to do there. Um, but let's roll another one here. Um, the okay, I'm not going. Let's just do the the just sort of a limpish wristed attitude. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. It's just a hand is limp. Okay. Now that's let's say it's just a woman's hand is usually just, you know it's very easy to do. That's where the natural positioning is. A guy's hand, for the most part, even when he's holding it straight, his hand is usually going to even just do that. Wrist is always going to be stiffer That's just the way the construction of the hands are. That's why, people's attitudes and how they hold things. If you want to, like say you want to do a feeling of just uh, a cringe, or you're gonna an old fashioned thing of "Urgh," claw-ish. Just think about those. So let me just erase that here. Okay, so you've got the claw is very it's an ugly movement, but there's stress to it. There's stress happening here. So um, right there, you've got a whole page of to play with, and that's the thing. Draw pages of hands in different positions, in different attitudes. Just draw simple line art. Nothing big, nothing elaborate. Frater. Are there some training methods for the hands? How can someone learn to draw more precisely? It's just practice. It really is just practice. Um, uh, Sarite, I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Um, let's see here. You'll have to Joe. You'll have to just elaborate a little bit on that. I'm old, remember? And Vina says, I see. Thank you so much. Do you know a person named Ralph Griffin? He was one of the creators of Arrow Comics. He was my grandfather. He told me to watch you, and he really liked your work. Well, thank you. I think that he might have seen me on, on the Sunday Funnies. Maybe that's where he's seen me. I don't believe would we have really met, and if we have, it was just a very brief moment exchange. But thank you. Says, how do you handle gender expression? The difference is softness between female hand gesture than the rigid in male hand gesture. Well, and what he's going to say here was there's a reference on the hand puppet. Just so, oh, Sarite. Oh yes, Sarite. Yes, that's right. Sarite. Yes. Hey, Joe. Somehow, sometimes you can't get the subtleties across with, with the printed word. Okay, so in terms of gender expression, well, it is an attitude. All right. Think in terms of how lines reflect energy. Okay. Let's go with, as I said, we'll go with another layer. And let's go with this here. So this here that's feminine. That's very masculine. Edges versus curves. A curve versus even with a you know even with what's the word, a curve on a muscle, it's not the same as a curve on a body, by like on a feminine form. Um, you know, if you want to do this, blocks, straights, are really good. And again, if you're going to, you can curve around, you could play around with things. Uh, but I will play with in terms of aggressiveness, especially when you're talking about a drawing. You can't really. Um, let's see. Hand gestures are very like. That's a bad one there. It's just this. Well, we're doing old school stuff here. Um, let's see. What I want to be. This. Mhm, right there. It's a softer feel to it. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. I think she's smiling about, I don't know which one, but that's that. So this is what we got. If there's, let's see if there's any more questions. Um, if not, I'm going to to call it for the day. We're now at 44 minutes, and I know I just trying to keep it so that people don't get bored with what I'm talking about. Um, but uh, I think you've gotten a fair amount of material, and the and Joe says yes. Probably the reasons why you don't see bulk muscle in most women bodybuilders which are drawn. Um, yeah, once again, muscle doesn't have to be bulk. It's toned. Solid. You have solid muscle, but it's toned. It's different. I mean, again, muscle mass, is different. Um, it's a feminine way. I mean, the masculine is our body reacts to a certain way. His replies are a little delayed. Yes, I know. Yes. Um, the and yes, the more rigid the line, the more masculine it appeared. Yes, absolutely. It's like the difference between a brick, okay, and just say something that's softer. I mean, brick is really hard. I can't call it rigid. I can't call it masculine. I can't call it feminine. It is a very hard thing. But again, straights, hard, forms, rectangles versus the sweeping line. Feminine is going to be always sweeping and hard, rigid, edged characters. Yeah, there you go. Brick versus sponge. Yes, there you go. There you go. But you have to be able to say to understand to get that across in your pencil in your line art. Um, and that's that takes a little while. That's an understanding of how to what the principles are and how you can convert that with line onto a pen, a piece of paper or screen. So I'm gonna call it a day, uh, guys. He says, so sponge doesn't have rigid, straight, parallel lines, while a brick does. Yes. Hmm. But again, in that case, a sponge isn't so much of a form as in a substance. You know, if you've got a sponge, you've got a lot of little curves that are going in and out of that. You know, but again, that's the feel that you're giving. I think if you're doing, like, say, if we're just talking about around here versus, you know, up here, there is a bit of attitude in terms of, like, okay, so if you go like this, if you say like, there's a square here, and there's a line, there's a straight here, there's a limited amount of circles. You have to have straights against bends, against curves. But in here, if it's also an attitude, you know, again, seeing how the hand placement is. There's not this, feeling to it. Bye, Venus. Goodbye. Take care. So, Joe, and let's see, who else was here? The Frater. Take care. Thank you very much. And we'll talk again. Send me if you want to have a conversation. If you have questions, just hit me up on on my Twitter account, or you go directly to it and just send me a direct message. And sure, I'll be happy to answer a question or two if you want. So until then, I'll have to say, and as Frater says, thank you, John. Bye. And the same for Joe. I'll thank you for showing up. It's a pleasure to talk with you and have you here and answer it. Bye, John, and thanks. Thank you very much. Take care. And let's see. Let me just get here and just say thank you very much for showing up. And I'll see you next week. Take care and bye bye. Oh, and keep your pencils sharp. Okay? That's a good one. Thank you. Bye.